Yes, we say in English, don't we, to someone who appears to be undisciplined, or who in fact is undisciplined, we say, straighten up.
Straighten up, yes, yes.
The images that we use to refer to that correction are always rigid, aren't they?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
So that authority, whether the communist authority of the few, or the authority of the priest, or the authority of someone who says, I know and you don't know, that is one of the factors that has produced disorder.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the factors of this disorder is our lack of real culture. We are very sophisticated, we are very so-called civilized, in the sense we are clean, we have bathrooms, we have better food and all that, but inwardly we are not cultured. We are not healthy, whole human beings.
The inner fragmentation spills out into our operations externally. Mm.
So, unless we understand disorder, the nature of disorder, the structure of disorder, we can never find out what is order. Out of the understanding of disorder comes order. Not first seek order and then impose that order on disorder. I don't know if I'm making my...
Yes, I do. I'm thinking, as you're speaking, of the phenomenon in the world of study and the world of teaching and learning as we understand them conventionally. I've noticed in our conversations that you always suggest that we study some dysfunction. We're never invited really to do that. We are given the notion that the thing to study is the principle involved. The argument for that, of course, is that one refers to health in order to understand disease.
Correct.
But then the reference to health, when that is said, is received purely conceptually.
Correct.
And so what we're studying is now
a concept rather than the actuality, than what is.
And we slip out of the true task. There is a difficulty in grasping the suggestion that we study the disorder simply because a disorder by its own condition is without an ordering principle.
Quite.
Therefore, it sounds, when it comes out, as though I'm being asked to study something that is unstudyable. But to the contrary.
On the contrary?
Yes. Yes. Now I'll stop. You go ahead. On the contrary, you were about to say something.
On the contrary, there must be an understanding of disorder. Why it has come about.
Yes.
One of the factors, sir, is, I think, basically that thought is matter, and thought has by its very nature is fragmentary.
Mm-hmm.
Thought divides the me and the not me, we and they, my country and your country, my ideas and your ideas, my religion and your, and so on. The very movement of thought is divisive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because thought is the response of memory, response of experience, which is the past. And unless we really go into this question very, very deeply, the movement of thought and the movement of disorder.
That seems to me to be a key word there, that for my understanding, in listening to you, movement here. To study the movement of disorder would seem to me to take it a step deeper than the phrase to study disorder. With the word movement, we're dealing with act.
It's a movement.
Exactly. The career of disorder. Yes. If that is what we're directed upon, then I think the objection that the study of disorder is to undertake an impossible pursuit is not made with any foundation. That objection loses its force precisely at the point when one says, no, it's not disorder as a concept that we're dealing with here. It's the movement of it. It's its own career. It's its passage. It's the whole corruption of the act as such. Yes, yes, exactly. I keep on saying this business about act all the time, and perhaps it seems repetitious.
That's absolutely right.
But you know, hardly ever is that taken seriously.
I know, sir.
By our species. Of course, the animals are onto that from the beginning, but we don't.
You see that we deal with concepts, not with what is, actually what is, rather than discuss formulas, concepts and ideas. What is disorder. And that disorder is spreading all over the world. It's a movement. It's a living disorder. Mm-hmm. Isn't disorder which is dead? It's a living thing, moving, corrupting, destroying.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
So,
but it takes, as you pointed out so often, it takes an extreme concentration of attention to follow movement. And there's a rebellion in us against following movement, which perhaps lies in our disaffection with the intuition that we have that transition is unintelligible.
Okay.
And we don't want that. We can't stand the thought that there's something that is unintelligible. And so we just will not make that act of attention.
So it's like sitting on the bank of a river and watching the waters go by. You can't alter the water. You can't change the substance or the movement of the water. In the same way, this movement of disorder is part of us and is flowing outside of us. So one has to look at it.
And there's no confusion in the act at all.
Obviously not. It is, that's what, no, first of all, so let's go into it very, very carefully. Mm-hmm. What is the factor of disorder? Disorder means contradiction, right?
Yes, and conflict, yes.
Contradiction, this opposed to that.
Right.
Or the duality. This opposed to that.
The contention between two things to be mutually